I should have known something was wrong when the headache started. But Alex, my beloved older brother, always had an explanation ready. "You're just stressed about college applications, Emma," he'd say, sliding me what I thought was my prescribed migraine medicine. "Take this and rest." I was 17 and Alex was 22, the golden child of our family. Pre-med student, top of his class, and our parents' pride and joy. Nobody questioned why he took such special interest in managing his little sister's medication. After all, he was studying to be a doctor. The day everything changed started like any other. I woke up feeling groggy, which had become normal over the past few months. My limbs felt heavy, and focusing on anything took tremendous effort. Mom attributed it to teenage laziness, while Dad suggested I needed more exercise. "I don't feel right," I mumbled during breakfast, my words slurring slightly. Alex quickly jumped in. "She's been pulling all-nighters for her AP classes," he explained smoothly, placing another glass of water beside me. "Here, drink this." I added some electrolytes. I remember taking a few sips before everything went dark. The next thing I heard was Alex's voice, seemingly far away. "She's just exhausted. Let her sleep it off." "But she's been sleeping for 2 days." Mom's worried voice broke through my haze. "Maybe we should call an ambulance?" "Mom, trust me, I'm almost a doctor. Her vitals are fine. I've been monitoring them. She's just overwhelmed with school." I tried to open my eyes to tell them something was terribly wrong, but my body wouldn't respond. I was trapped in a darkness that felt thick and heavy, like being underwater. It was Mrs. Peterson, our next-door neighbor, and a retired nurse, who finally broke through Alex's wall of excuses. She had come to drop off some mail and found me unresponsive. "This isn't normal sleep." I heard her shouting, "Call 911 now, or I will." The emergency room was a blur of lights and voices. Words floated around me, severely unresponsive. Possible toxic exposure. Immediate CT scan needed. "How long has she been like this?" A sharp female voice cut through my fog. "Just a couple of days," Alex answered smoothly. "She's been under a lot of pressure." 3 days, Mrs. Peterson interrupted. "I've been watching through my window. She hasn't moved in 3 days." Dr. Sarah Martinez, the neurologist on call, ordered an immediate battery of tests. Through my semi-conscious state, I could feel Alex's carefully constructed narrative beginning to crack. "We need a complete tox screen," Dr. Martinez ordered. "And get me her medication list." "I've been managing her medications," Alex stepped in. "As a medical student, You're not licensed," Dr. Martinez cut him off. "And as her brother, you have no authority to prescribe or manage any medications." "Mr. and Mrs. Turner, has anyone been monitoring what your son has been giving your daughter?" The silence that followed was deafening. "He's studying medicine." Mom's voice wavered. "We trusted." "Get me that brain scan now." Dr. Martinez barked at the staff. "And security, please make sure the brother doesn't leave the hospital." Hours later, through the thick fog that still clouded my mind, I heard Dr. Martinez explaining the results to my parents. "The scan shows evidence of long-term sedative exposure," she said gravely. "Someone has been systematically drugging your daughter. The buildup in her system suggests this has been going on for months." "That's ridiculous," Alex protested. "I've only been giving her prescribed medications." "Really?" Dr. Martinez's voice was ice. "Then you won't mind explaining why we found traces of multiple unprescribed sedatives in her system. Medications that coincidentally medical students might have access to." The monitors caught the spike in my heart rate as memories started flooding back. The strange taste in my water, the increasing episodes of confusion. Alex always being there with another pill, another drink, another explanation. I was helping her. Alex's voice cracked. She was going to ruin everything. Ruin what? Dad's voice trembled with barely contained rage. "The inheritance. Grandpa's trust fund goes to the first grandchild who gets into medical school. She's smarter than me. Her practice NCAT scores were higher. I couldn't let her." The sound of my mother's gasp mixed with my father's choked sob. Their perfect son, their future doctor, had been slowly poisoning me to eliminate his competition. "Security," Dr. Martinez called out, "and someone get the police up here. We have attempted murder via poisoning." As consciousness slowly returned over the next few hours, I became aware of my parents' broken whispers, of police officers taking statements, of Dr. Martinez methodically documenting every substance found in my system. But one sound stood out: Alex's protest as he was led away in handcuffs, still insisting he had done it for the family's good. The brain scan images on Dr. Martinez's screen told a different story. Dark areas showed where the drugs had affected my neural pathways, proof of my brother's systematic betrayal. But they also showed something else. Something that would turn this family tragedy into an even darker revelation. The first week of my recovery was like emerging from a deep, dark well. Each day brought more clarity, and with it, more horrifying realizations. Dr. Martinez worked tirelessly to flush the cocktail of drugs from my system, but the psychological damage was harder to treat. The substances we found, she explained during one of her rounds, aren't typically available to medical students. Even with hospital access, these would be strictly controlled. Her eyes narrowed. Someone with more authority had to be helping him. My parents sat by my bedside, shells of their former selves. Mom couldn't stop crying, while Dad seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. The police had searched Alex's apartment and found a detailed journal documenting every drug he'd given me, every calculated dose designed to slowly deteriorate my cognitive functions. He wanted to make it look like a mental breakdown, Detective Lisa Morgan explained, her face grim as she showed us the evidence. The goal was to discredit you before you could even apply to medical school. But something didn't add up. During my more lucid moments, I remembered conversations that seemed odd now. Phone calls Alex would take in hushed tones. Mentions of someone named Uncle Marcus who I'd never met. The breakthrough came during a routine visit from Dr. Harrison, the hospital's chief of medicine. He was checking my charts when I noticed his hand trembling slightly at the sight of my last name. Turner, he muttered, not realizing I was awake. It can't be. Detective Morgan, who happened to be present, caught it too. Dr. Harrison? Is there something you need to share? His face went pale. I knew their grandfather. Dr. William Turner. We worked together years ago. The detective's interest piqued. The same grandfather whose trust fund was the motive for this poisoning. Dr. Harrison looked like he wanted to flee. Instead, he sank into a chair, his professional demeanor crumbling. William and we conducted unofficial experiments, testing new combinations of drugs. Marcus, William's brother, helped us access the substances. When things went wrong, we covered it up. My parents' attention snapped to him. What things? Dad demanded. There were accidents. Students who volunteered for what they thought were standard trials. Some ended up like this, he gestured to me. Some worse. William documented everything, just like Alex did, Detective Morgan finished. The journal wasn't his idea, was it? He was following a template. Dr. Harrison nodded miserably. Marcus must have shown him William's old records. Taught him the protocol. We thought all that died with William, but Marcus continued the family tradition, the detective concluded, using his hospital privileges to access restricted medications, grooming Alex to follow in his great-uncle's footsteps. My mother's sob cut through the room. All those family stories about medical excellence, they were covering up torture. Detective Morgan was already on her phone, calling for backup. Dr. Harrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy and accessory after the fact. We'll need everything you know about Marcus Turner's current whereabouts. As security led Dr. Harrison away, Dr. Martinez rushed in with new scan results. There's something else, she announced. The drug pattern we found? It's identical to 3 unsolved cases from the past 5 years. All young pre-med students, all diagnosed with stress-induced breakdowns. All competitors for the trust fund, I whispered, my voice hoarse. How many others? The investigation expanded rapidly. Police found a hidden room in Marcus's house filled with medical journals dating back decades. Each documented the systematic destruction of young minds that threatened the Turner medical dynasty. Your grandfather wasn't just leaving a trust fund, Detective Morgan explained as I grew stronger. He was leaving a legacy of elimination. Anyone who showed too much promise, who might outshine the chosen heir, became a test subject. I finished. Alex's arraignment was scheduled for the following week. He sat in jail, apparently still convinced he'd done the right thing for the family name. But Marcus remained at large, his hospital access revoked, but his whereabouts unknown. My recovery progressed slowly. The drugs had left their mark. Random tremors, memory gaps, moments of confusion. But Dr. Martinez was optimistic. "Your brain is young, resilient," she assured me. "With therapy and time, you can still pursue your dreams." "Including medical school?" I asked. She smiled. "Especially medical school. The best revenge is success." As I lay in my hospital bed that night, watching the police search for Marcus continue on the news, I made a decision. The Turner medical legacy wouldn't end with Alex's arrest or Marcus's eventual capture. It would end with me, not as another victim, but as someone who would transform it. I would become a doctor, not to continue a dynasty built on destruction, but to heal, to protect, to expose the dark secrets that medicine could hide. The trust fund that had driven my brother to poison me would fund research into detecting and preventing medical abuse. But first, we had to find Marcus. And something told me he wouldn't go down easily. After all, he had decades of experience making problems disappear. The break in the case came from an unexpected source. 3 weeks into my recovery, while I was relearning to walk without tremors, a young nurse named Katie rushed into my room, her face white with fear. "I think I just saw him," she whispered to Detective Morgan, who'd become a constant presence. "Dr. Marcus Turner. He's disguised as a janitor, but I recognized him from the photos. He's heading toward the pharmacy storage." Within minutes, the hospital went into lockdown. Security teams swept each floor, while Detective Morgan positioned officers at every exit. But Marcus had decades of experience navigating hospital corridors. What he didn't expect was me. I knew the old service elevator still worked. I'd seen Alex using it during his care of me. While everyone searched the main areas, I disconnected my monitoring devices and slipped out of bed. My legs shook, but determination steadied them. I found him exactly where I expected, in the abandoned physical therapy room on the 3rd floor, preparing syringes with practiced efficiency. "Hello, Uncle Marcus," I said quietly, blocking the doorway with my IV stand. He turned, his surgical mask hiding what I assumed was a smile. "Ah, the brilliant Emma. You should be resting, dear. Recovery is so delicate." Like the recovery of those other students, I kept my voice steady even as my hands trembled. "The ones in your journals. All for the greater good." He stepped forward, a syringe glinting in his hand. "The Turner legacy demands excellence. Those who couldn't handle the pressure, well, they were weak." "No," I countered. "They were threats. Just like me, because we proved that real medical excellence doesn't run in bloodlines." His eyes hardened. "You understand nothing. This family's reputation is built on torture and murder." Detective Morgan's voice cut through the air as she emerged from the shadows behind me. "Marcus Turner, you're under arrest." He moved with surprising speed for his age, lunging forward with the syringe. But years of watching his victims struggle had made him overconfident. I dodged, my weeks of physical therapy paying off as I swung my IV stand into his path. He stumbled, the syringe clattering away as officers swarmed in. As they handcuffed him, his mask slipped, revealing not the monster I'd imagined, but an old man desperate to protect his twisted version of family honor. "You'll never prove anything," he spat. "The records are all in police custody." Detective Morgan smiled grimly. "Along with new evidence from your little pharmacy raid attempt today. It's over, Marcus." The trial that followed exposed generations of medical abuse. Dozens of former students came forward, their mysterious breakdowns finally explained. Alex, facing his own charges, broke down and revealed everything. How Marcus had groomed him since childhood, teaching him to see murder as medical research. The family name was everything. Alex testified, unable to meet my eyes. He showed me Grandpa's journals, taught me the formulas, said I was chosen to continue the work. My parents sat through every session, their faces carved with grief as they learned how their own fathers, brothers, and uncles had perpetuated this legacy of harm. The Turner medical dynasty crumbled under the weight of its own darkness. 1 year later, I stood at the podium of my medical school white coat ceremony. My hands no longer shook as I accepted the symbol of my future profession. In the audience, Dr. Martinez beamed proudly. She'd become my mentor, helping me channel my experience into purpose. The Turner Trust Fund, released by the courts, had been transformed into a foundation for monitoring medical ethics and supporting survivors of medical abuse. My first research paper, Coma third with Dr. Martinez, exposed the warning signs of systematic medical manipulation. You've changed the legacy, Detective Morgan told me at the ceremony. She'd become family in her own way, showing me that true strength lay in protecting others. The Turner name will mean something different now. Alex and Marcus both received lengthy sentences. The last time I visited Alex in prison, he seemed smaller, the arrogance of the golden child replaced by genuine remorse. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I was so wrong." "I know," I replied. "That's why I'm going to succeed. Not to prove I'm better, but to make sure no one else suffers like we did." Today, my hospital badge reads Dr. Emma Turner, neurologist. Each time I put on my white coat, I remember the darkness that nearly destroyed me. But more importantly, I remember the light that showed me the way out, the dedication of Dr. Martinez, the determination of Detective Morgan, the courage of Nurse Katie. The Turner medical legacy didn't end with Alex's crimes or Marcus's arrest. It transformed, like a poison-turned antidote, into something healing. And as I walk these hospital halls now, my step steady and sure, I carry not the weight of a corrupt dynasty, but the strength of its redemption. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from destroying a legacy, but from rebuilding it into something worthy of survival.